We are going to get underway. If you need a coffee, you can quietly slip up as we're going through the morning, I'm sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Annabelle Bushell, Senior Manager for Extension and Adoption with GRDC. And first up, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're here on today, the Whadjuk people and their elders past, present and emerging. I know that I grew up in Northam on a mixed farming property and we were quite close to the Avon River, so I know that they were quite connected to that land. So I'm sure you have all your own individual stories there. Look, welcome to Grains Research Update Student Breakfast. There's a little bit of housekeeping. Now I don't know where the toilets are actually. Toilets are out this door here. And look, if there's anything that will affect your safety today, we'll evacuate, and the muster point is at the Camfield, which is the hotel that way, I think. Sorry, my orientation's not that great. But anyway, if that does occur, we just need to follow the directions from the Optus staff. Phones on silent. Obviously, this is non-smoking, non-vaping venue, so I'm assuming head right outside of the actual centre if you need to do that. Phones on silent, and look, what is most important about this is that this breakfast, bringing students and scientists and others in the industry together, is being made possible by the Society of Precision Agriculture in Australia, SPAA, a national, network for advancing digital ag and precision ag, and WAARC, so the WA Agricultural Research Collaboration. We'll be welcoming representatives from SPAA and WAARC to the stage to introduce themselves shortly, but I'd also like to welcome Cec McConnell, Deputy Director General of DPIRD, and staff and representatives from the Mount Burdett Foundation, Erin Gorta, I've got my glasses on, over there. All great people to chat to, so I really encourage connecting with them this morning over breakfast, and also the generous donation of the sponsorship of 100 students to today's event from DPIRD and the Mount Burdett Foundation. Please give a warm welcome to Cec McConnell. She will come and introduce herself and the importance of digital ag.
Thanks, Annabelle. And I'd also like to recognise about Burdett Foundation. We've got Erin here, but we've also got David and Bill representing the foundation. So please make yourselves known to those people during the day. And hey, well done, guys. It's first day of uni, so to actually turn up here for breakfast is awesome, and really pleased you've made the effort. So we've just had our highest record harvest, and that's not an accident. It's happened on the back of large-scale applied science, and that's some of the stuff that we want you guys to be in. It's a result of farmers using new tech, using new varieties, making better decisions, but it's also a result of decades of investment in research, in crop science, in agronomy, precision technologies, and that allows growers to make better decisions, plant by plant, paddock by paddock, and year by year. Really important moves forward with that precision ag. Precision ag is how we produce more grain from less rain. You would know we are farming in some of the most dry conditions globally. Our farmers are known globally for their water efficiency and their ability to farm in these environments. And that's because we have research that focuses on improving water and nutrient use efficiency, enabling early identification of pests and weeds and diseases, and supporting better crop varieties, and helping us deal with variable seasons. And getting the most from those new technologies helps us improve our soil, improve our application of fertilisers and chemicals, and also it helps us to ask new questions of data so we can find new solutions. And innovation and technology are really changing how decisions are being made. It's no longer a single system, a single decision, a single tool. It's a combination of how do you bring the system together, the climate, the soils, the management decisions. So the research that we do at DPIRD in Precision Ag helps to look at that system, bring those elements together. We want to help growers target their inputs, manage their risk, and lift their productivity. And the gains we've seen across the recent seasons reflect a shift to evidence-led, technology-enabled decision-making. So that next productivity leap depends on people just as much as it does on technology. The tech alone is not going to do it. So we need you guys. We need you as scientists, as economists, as agronomists, as extension specialists. We need you to turn research into practice. DPIRD, we work alongside the growers and industry to ensure precision ag research is tested, adapted and adopted. But that pathway relies on skilled graduates who have skills in science and modern farming. And you guys are entering the sector at a defining moment when new innovative technology is needed to get us to that next level of grain production. Those innovative ag systems, they're going to underpin how we keep competitive on a global basis. The record harvest we've just had, not just this year, but 4 out of the last 5 years, shows what's possible when science, industry and government work together. And for you guys here in the room, there's not a better time to contribute to that research. So I want to finish on a note of saying, don't just choose a job in agriculture, choose a purpose. Last year, at the Grains Updates, Svetlana Mikic, who's a DPIRD entomologist, received the Seat of Light Award. And when she got up and gave her acceptance speech, she said, I haven't worked today. And that's because she genuinely loves what she does and the impact that it has. So be clear on your why and your purpose for being in agriculture. You've got capacity to make impact in growing productive and profitable systems, having impact in applying the vast array of new technologies that will help us reach that next horizon in production, having impact in helping our growers deal with a continuing changing climate, having impact in our sustainability, and having impact in helping our industry feed the world. And that sense of purpose and passion and impact is why the researchers at DPIRD are truly passionate people, knowing that their work matters and contributes to industry and supports communities across the world, but particularly in WA. So I want to thank you for choosing agriculture. It's a fantastic sector. It's an extremely important sector that's often goes under the radar. We feed not only our state but the world, and people often don't make that connection between all the hard work that happens in agriculture and what they eat every day. So thank you for your interest. Thank you for continuing to think about how you could choose career pathways that will take agriculture forward into the next decade. And if you're interested, we're at DPIRD really keen to talk to you. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to invite Kelly to come up next.
Morning, everyone. I think I'm good here. I was asked to mention that anyone with any dietary issues can go over to that table and eat the food over there. But we encourage you to keep eating, and there's a lot of food out there. So my name's Kelly Pearce. I'm the Director of the WA Agricultural Research Collaboration, or WAARC. Very briefly, WAARC is a state-funded collaboration between Curtin Uni, Murdoch Uni, UWA, Grower Group Alliance, CSR and DPIRD. And we were established to help bring these organisations together to strengthen agricultural research in our state and ensure it delivers real impact. But at WAARC, we don't just invest in projects, we invest in people. One of our flagship initiatives, and there's a few WAARC students in the room here today, we're very proud of you, is our PhD top-up program. We have 37 students, all doing projects really relevant to WA agriculture. And we do actually have round 3 opening later, I think March this year. So within our postgrad program, we do a lot of professional development. We want to produce researchers from WAARC that are not just doing great science, but can communicate it and translate it into practice. This year we've also launched, and I think, hands up who's an undergrad student here out of interest? Not many of you. Postgrad students? Most of you are postgrads, yep. But we do, for those undergrads in the room, we've just launched the WAARC Grower Group Alliance Honours Scholarship Program, and those honours students will receive financial support and they will work directly with grower groups. So on real on-ground issues in real farming communities at the beginning of your careers. It's a very exciting opportunity, and if you're interested, please come and talk with us. For those older, more established researchers in the room, we've also got a Churchill Fellowship available as well. So what has led us to this day, and the theme of today, is that WAARC recently commissioned a workforce capacity needs analysis across the WA Ag R&D ecosystem for the next 5 to 15 years. So what are the skills that we as an industry really need going forward? And what emerged is that data and digital capability was the most critical and under-resourced area in our system. And as Cec pointed out, we really need to upskill our scientists in WA in everything from analytics to modelling to robotics to decision support tools if we're to remain competitive and resilient. And today WAARC is really proud to sponsor this event with SPAA. Precision Ag sits at that real intersect between farming and digital ag, and we're excited to host this event today. So before I finish, I'd just like to acknowledge Mount Burdett Foundation and DPIRD for sponsoring you and making opportunities like this possible for WAARC. I'd like to thank SPAA for co-hosting, GIWA, GRDC and the WAARC team, and hands up the WAARC team in the room. There's a few of us, and our chair, Terry Hill, is right here. So please come and have a chat with us at some point this morning or over the next 2 days. So I'll hand over now to Ange from SPAA, and then we'll have some speakers.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. It's fantastic to see so many future ag professionals in the room. I'm Ange McAvoy, and I'm the Executive Officer of SPAA, the Society of Precision Agriculture Australia. SPAA is a national not-for-profit, grower-focused organisation that has been working not only across the grains industry, but all farming sectors for over 20 years. At its core, SPAA exists to help the industry make better, more informed decisions using data and technology. Precision agriculture can sometimes come across, might sound complex or highly technical, but fundamentally it's about applying the right input in the right place at the right time and doing that with confidence. SPAA sits in the middle of the sector. We're a conduit between growers, advisors, researchers and machinery companies. We help translate research and innovation into practical on-farm application. The projects that we lead are collaborative and extend research into real-world farming systems by supporting growers and advisors to use data in meaningful ways. Creating spaces like this is a big part of what we do. SPAA brings the industry together to share what's working, what's challenging, and what's next. Agriculture is growing, is evolving very quickly with variable rate technology, robotics, automation, sensors, analytics, and AI. And the industry needs people who can bridge the gap between innovation and practical farming systems. SPAA is proud to be partnering with GRDC and the team at WAARC to host today's breakfast. GRDC's investment in research and development underpins so much of the progress in the grains industry, and WAARC plays a critical role in applied research and innovation here in WA. So this morning is about connecting that research and industry capability with you, the next generation. So for you as undergraduates and postgrad students, it's an incredibly exciting time to be entering ag. There are career pathways across agronomy, advisory research, ag tech, data analytics, automation, robotics, grower services and more. Many of these roles are emerging as technology becomes more embedded in farming systems. So one very practical way to stay connected is through SPAA membership, and we offer free student membership, and there are forms on your table and QR codes where if you're an undergraduate or a postgraduate, you can access free membership for a year. Industry representatives from WAARC and SPAA are all sitting at your table, so that way you can meet a broader range of people. So I encourage everyone to take a moment to introduce yourself, share your name, what you're studying, and what areas of agriculture interest you the most. It might feel repetitive and, a borderline cringe as well when you do those introductions, but those reintroductions are often they're often the most useful conversations, where those useful conversations begin. So the connections that you start building now can genuinely shape your future career. So thanks again, and we're really pleased to have you here with us. Now, I'm also going to be introducing our three panel members today. We've got three industry professionals who are joining us to talk about their careers and how they started off in ag and where they're at now. So I'll invite Roberto, Lujan, Rocha, Phil Honey and Matthew Joyner to the stage. And while they're coming up to the stage, I'll just read out their bios. Roberto is a researcher and entrepreneur at the University of Western Australia with a Bachelor of Science honours in Environmental Management and Conservation Biology, specialising in remote sensing, drones and machine learning to support precision agriculture and WA crop systems. Phil Honey recently joined CNH as a precision technology specialist. He is a SPAA committee member and was previously with Stirling's to Coast Farmers in Albany, where he led on-farm agtech, connectivity and digital farming demonstrations to support practical adoption across the region. Matthew Joyner has spent 3 decades bridging the gap between agricultural tradition and technology revolution across the UK, Canada and Australia. As a precision farming specialist at Boekeman's, Matthew stands at the forefront of agriculture's most exciting evolution, the convergence of agronomy, data science and automation. Roberto, we might start. We'll start with you, Roberto. Or would you like to come to the podium? Yeah, sure. Yep.
Is this one working? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so every paddock has a story, but sometimes the story is very difficult to be read from the side of the fence line. Now, remote sensing is one of those tools that allows us to read a paddock's story, but from a different perspective, from a spatial perspective, right? So we know that crop variability exists, and this crop variability is driven by different environmental factors, and these environmental factors are very important because they can define whether a given area in a field is profitable or not. Now, I'm currently doing a PhD at the University of Western Australia, where I'm looking at how we can use remote sensing in combination with other spatial layers like soil and yield to try to read and understand a paddock's story. This story about weed distribution, trying to predict weed patches the following season. If we understand the spatial location of these weed patches before they even germinate, we can better use integrated weed management. For those who don't know, integrated weed management is a framework that allows us to use chemical and non-chemical weed control methods. Imagine knowing before the season starts if this area here is going to have very high weed densities. A farmer might decide to use more expensive pre-emerging herbicides or more residual pre-emerging herbicides in those specific spots, or use a non-chemical weed control method, such as crop competition, trying to outcompete the weeds in those areas. And I guess this area of non-chemical weed control methods is very important these days because of the social license that we need to gain. My pathway to where I am today was non-linear. I actually never imagined I would be working in the ag industry. I don't have any ag background at all. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to work at the Australian Herbicide Resistance Initiative at UWA. And I didn't apply to this job because I wanted to work in ag. I applied to the job because I wanted to do research, and that's what I was really passionate about. But it was only when I started working in the ag industry that I realized how technologically advanced Australian agriculture is, and that's when my passion for ag tech was born. So my advice to all the new students that we have here would be to not be afraid of taking any opportunities that you have. And also in events like this or the GRDC updates, the next couple of days, don't be afraid to have those face-to-face conversations with people, because you never know where they might lead, right? They might lead you into a very specific field that you didn't know you liked, like it was in my case. Every paddock has a story. And I think all of us in this room, even the students and the older senior people as well, have a potential to decide, with the help of the technology that we have these days, how we can read the story of each paddock. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Name's Phil Honey and based down in Albany, and as Ange alluded to earlier, my story was a little bit different, coming previously from a grower group background and joining a large international organisation. So I was lucky enough to grow up on a farm in Esperance and eventually decided to go through university and complete a Bachelor of Agricultural Science. And then I thought, hey, I've just done some uni, what's another year? Let's throw in a Masters as well. And so that Masters was in a Masters of Environmental Science, specialising in in Geographic Information Sciences. So the ability to map and make some pretty cool things, pretty cool decisions, and open up my eyes to what's happening in the world, form a few networks, and So I was lucky enough to have my own precision ag background, precision ag business, and work for a grower group. Was lucky enough to be able to come to days like this, learn from the leading researchers, and then be able to translate that back to farmers. Over time, I realised that it was pretty cool to do that, but I wanted to be a bit more technical. So the opportunity to join CNH late last year enabled me to be able to be a bit more at the coalface and look at how we could utilise technology to improve farm decisions a bit more efficiently. So whether it's utilising predictive analytics on machines to measure crop variability, to minimising grain losses, to measuring grain proteins, and I think Sam, I met earlier today, she's done some great work with that. Being able to do that and have a wider impact was probably one of the most exciting things. The other things I really love about my job is just the diversity in our areas. We've all got different backgrounds, we've all got different knowledge levels, we all see things in different lights. So out of curiosity, how many people in here actually don't come from a farming background? And I think that's probably the key take-home message that I really want to make sure to you is that ultimately don't be scared to share your ideas and your knowledge. Ultimately, you guys are the people that look at things differently. We've done things in particular ways for many years, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the most efficient way. So don't be scared to share your knowledge. Don't be scared to share your questions. Everyone has a different point of view. And ultimately, your bit of research will help shape the industry, and it's for the roles of like CNH and other technology and machinery companies and commercial companies like your Bayer and your other chemical companies to help bring that to life. And with that, we'll see the other end of the organisation. Cheers.
Good morning, my name is Matthew Joyner. I went to Harper Adams in the UK, did a Bachelor of Science with Agriculture and Land Farm Management. I, like Roberto, had nothing to do with agriculture. I went there to play rugby. And one thing I discovered while I was there is that you got to work. in the holidays, we went and worked on sheep farms, and then we went and worked on beef and cattle farms, and then poultry farms, until I'd worked in almost every sector of the agricultural community, whether it be root crops, combinable crops. It didn't make any difference. I've worked and alongside and been involved with the ag business and farming on 4 continents, and I've supported OEMs on 3. Travel is a great learner for anything you can do involved in any industry. If you can do it in one place, you can do it in another. That very wise lady there said that we are very good at growing dryland crops. The only country ever to grow grain on less rainfall than us was the Syrian University, and the Syrian University aren't doing much grain growing right now. I too like going around the world and telling people that I feed the world. It is a great claim. You should say it. I'm not going to be shy about this. I'm involved in talent acquisition, partly because, as that very wise lady said there, there's nobody in our business. We need people really badly, and don't be shy about this. You are capital, your assets, and we're all after your work. If we could get you, we'd all be really grateful, and if you want to talk to me afterwards, like everybody else said, I'll come and talk to you. Moving on. What do I love about my job? It is my dream job. I too don't feel like I go to work. I get up in the morning, and I've worked for my company for 18 years, and that must say something either about the role that I have or the business in which I'm involved. I'm going to cut to the very end of what I wanted to say because I think it's vital right at this moment. I work in a small country town with lots of very small farmers, lots of very, very large farmers, and the farming that they do is the one I aspired to be involved with in the UK. I wanted to get away from small farming with tiny tractors. And when I went for my job interview, my boss said to me, what's your weakness? And I pointed out the window at a very large tractor and said, that's my weakness right there. He didn't think twice, and so we're still in a pretty useful partnership. You have to ask yourself what you want from your career. Is it economic returns? Is it fulfillment? Is it to make a difference? Is it to help other people? Is it the respect of your peers? Well, I can assure you I have all of those things. Whether it's superficial to want the respect of your peers, this is quite a small industry. There's only so many people, and whether you're going sideways in your company because you got a promotion or whether you're going to the top of this industry, it really does pay to stick around. The 250 farmers that I would probably converse with on an annual basis, whether they be from the bottom of our district, which is south of the Great Eastern Highway, to the very north of the district in Geraldton, they know your face, they know who you are, they love continuity, and they trust me. And the reason they trust me is because I didn't go anywhere, I stuck around. Also, I'm not involved in taking their money, I'm involved in making sure that they get return on investment. The key part of my role is to turn whatever it is you spent $1 million into beast mode. If it comes from a factory in another country and you're never going to meet those people, you need someone who cares about your operation. Fundamentally, if I can make it perform for you, you will make money. And if you're making money, you're going to be a next generation farmer, and hopefully you've got children. If I go to a farm, and I'm actually on the 3rd generation of people on farms. I dealt with their grandfathers, I deal with their sons, and now I'm seeing the kids. And I have to tell Dad to go away while I teach the child how off-board systems work for telematics, because Dad can't remember a password. What I can teach a 16-year-old in 30 minutes, he'll probably save 70% of it, but I could tell his dad for like 4 hours and he'll take away 30% of it. I'm lucky, and he still won't remember the password. The clock's not ticking, you people are in trouble. WA farming is the punk rock of agriculture. If your product, or if you can make it in this agriculture, you could make it anywhere. It's well worth getting involved in our business. Things I love about my job, people, relationships. There's lots of opportunities in agriculture for you to do a different job. Lots of people are quite happy to move job, and I didn't think I would be a long-termer. Sounds like I've got a prison cell, but it's where you want to stay. Small country towns are beautiful places. On my road, drive to work, which is all of 800 meters, I wave at 15 people out the window because I see them and I know them and we know each other. You can leave your car unlocked. I didn't say I lived in Dalwon. You can leave your car running in the street with the aircon on and no one steals it. You can go to the shops and leave. We don't lock our house. We have a very dangerous dachshund, but it's still an unlockable house. You don't want to know about my wine collection. But it's a great place to live and work. So I would strongly recommend the regions. I would strongly recommend farmers as people to work with. Some of them can be crotchety, but that's not. They work in high critical positions. West Australian agriculture is a joy to be involved with. Precision farming is an awesome location, a sector. It's everything. It's everything those gentlemen said. It's everything all the previous speakers said. I've got a huge catalogue of marketing speak that I can roll out at these sorts of events. Productivity, enhancements, adaptation, it all goes down. But realistically, it is the coalface. My top tip is don't get too far from the paddock. If you leave that spot, you are moving away from the epicenter that everybody believes about. Everybody thinks about this one place. It's the soil. If you're not at that spot, you're becoming detached from the realities of agriculture because it happens in fields. No disrespect to scientists, but it doesn't really happen in a hermetically sealed lab with simulated GPS. It happens in a field with dust, vibration, human emotions, and it's usually not much rain. So the final word I would say is read the operator's manual. Thank you.
Thanks, Roberto, Phil and Matt for your pictures. Does anybody have any questions that they might want to ask our panellists?
I have one. I don't know about you students, but we are shocking for acronyms. So my question to these guys is RE, CNH, OEM.
Original equipment manufacturer.
Case New Holland Industrial.
This one is the Australian Herbicide Resistance Initiative.
We are shocking in ag for acronyms, so we need a urban dictionary or glossary. So don't ever feel like if someone says 3 letters to you, you're meant to know what it actually means, because you won't.
Good. And you can actually ask questions of not just the speakers, but of Erin, Cess, who else have we got? Ange. So if you've got questions, it's for all of us.
Yeah, hi. Probably a question more for Matt, but all of you. I'm Harry Williams from UWA. I just wondered how far off you think autonomy is in the system, whether that's tractors or fertiliser or anything like that. Cheers.
Adoption is based on return on investment, and if you can adopt it, then you're either quite obsessed with that process or you have the capacity to adopt it. There's usually quite a large gulf between what a tech company believes that the marketplace wants and what a farming operation can actually implement. Finding you to come onto the farm and adopt it is why you're looking for next-gen people. You're looking for people coming out of a senior tertiary education with a healthy understanding of agriculture. Precision farming is 1/3 agriculture, 1/3 mechanical aptitude, and 1/3 information technology or digital sciences. You're never far away from either connectivity or from a digital solution, and half of my solutions are actually sent to me in a zip file by someone hundreds and thousands of kilometers away. Whether or not you can understand the host before you can implement it is another factor. How far is it? Some of it's still already running. Someone pointed out earlier that you've got a 4-ton area of the field, a 3-ton area of the field, and a 1-ton area of the field. The wheat price is going to have to get so high for you to make money at the 1-ton area of the field, you might as well plant trees. But the 4-ton area of the field, it doesn't take a genius to know if you just up your inputs. And you can do that with pretty basic technology. It's roughly available at every single time you make a purchase. Purchasing for the next 5 to 10 years and maybe the next generation depend on life of product, depends on whether or not adoption usually occurs. As far as automation, automation doesn't happen, autonomy doesn't happen without automation. Until you can do the process pretty much on its own, there's no autonomy. Possibly
a little bit more positive, but it really depends what we're defining as autonomy. So I'm going to do a very cheeky plug for SPAA. We're actually involved in the Grain Automate project, which is funded by GRDC. And so there's actually quite a few different levels of autonomy. And Matt is right, some of it is actually here quite easily accessible right now. So it might be autonomy in the fact that we are literally driving across a paddock and it's automatically spraying on or off. That's one level of autonomy, all the way down to the other end, which is basically a farmer or a manager sitting in a house and everything is done by itself without any intervention. That's definitely a lot longer away. That's definitely the pipe dream. But yes, there is certainly those earlier aspects available already.
Yeah, just to add, I guess, I agree with that point, and I guess it's also very important to define, the difference between automation and autonomy, right? Automation we can do already, but autonomy is taking a little bit longer. But I think, the growth of AI has been exponential, so, who knows how far away it is, but, I think we will have it, yeah.
I have a question for maybe Matt and Phil. What do you think organisations like WAARC and SPAA and our universities need to do to upskill the next generation? What's missing? What should we be focusing on? What can these students do to get ahead of the game?
Very good question, Kelly. I think you guys are really starting to get that ball rolling right now. So the first thing that I'd say is getting that close collaboration with grower groups. It's really important that the research that you do does advance farming. There's no argument about that. But there is a bit of a disconnect still between research and actually getting it down to the farm at a practical level. And working with these not-for-profit groups is really quite important. They are the founding baseline for your research. And if you can't communicate what you're trying to, what your learnings are to farmers, then it can't really be adopted. So highly recommend this honours program. It's such a great idea. Even if you can't do that, you might be postgrad, completely understand that. There are groups throughout the region. West Midlands are really good at getting student days. Just come out, have a look at what's actually happening in those areas, meet farmers. It's a small industry, as everyone else has said today. And it's a perfect stepping stone to building those friendships and relationships and those critical, I guess, as a researcher, am I on the right path? Does this make sense to the farmer? Can I actually get adoption out of it? The other aspect there is actually making sure you share your learnings and share your failures. And that's really hard to explain to a lot of people. But just because something didn't work, don't be scared to share that info. We don't want everyone to burn out trying to do the same thing and hitting the same failure point. You might just not be able to do it. You might be able to find someone in your network that can help you to achieve what you need to do.
Those are very wise words. You don't learn anything from success, you only learn from failure. And the majority of the times when my phone rings, it's because someone wants to tell me that something's failed. It's a challenge. It's a challenge every day. It's an opportunity. I have to admit to being a bona fide, I'm a junkie, a solution junkie. I want people to ring me and tell me how bad the world is, and once it make it bad, I want to make it better. The research that's been done over the last 100 years probably makes a difference. Last year we did grow a record crop, and it was off a less than standard rainfall calendar. What we can do with today's varieties and equipment and knowledge and research means that it's very good to grow a great record crop, but when it's a bad year, we still grow a very successful crop. A clever farmer in my district told me the magic number is 129 millimetres, because at 129 millimetres of rain in the growing season, you still have to put a combine in the paddock. 120 millimetres, kill the crop, don't harvest it. It doesn't make any money. It's uneconomical. So understanding where your research and what you can do with farming in today's, the phrase was already used, at the coalface. We know what happens at the coalface because we see the success and the failure of individual sections of fields and paddocks and farming enterprises. We see their successes, and the longer you're in the industry, the more times you've seen the rise and fall. Agriculture is quite fashionable. One year it's flares, next year it's skinny jeans. The cycle is slightly longer, but it does change, and you can see that certainly in machinery dealerships. What was flavour of the month 5 years ago is now, one man's boat weight. He uses it to hold the boat down. So there is changes. I forgot what your question was.
What can universities and organisations like ours do to help upskill the next generation?
I just got told to come up here and sell agriculture and make it so it looks like a rock star industry. It is a rock star industry. We are in agriculture 4.0 right now. The Luddite days of saying, oh, I don't want to read the manual, oh, I don't understand that, oh, I wish we still had levers that went to the back of the machine. People always want to talk, I'm changing subject, we always want to talk about why did the machinery company make it so complicated? They didn't make it complicated off their own thoughts. A group of farmers came and told them what they wanted. I think engagement with the end user and with the farmer is pivotal to understanding what your research and what your future looks like, is understanding the industry. Yes?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You can finish it.
Yep.
Dave's next.
Just interested in, we just talked about record WA crop and rainfall efficiency. Where do you think ag fits in the tech space compared to other industries that keep telling us how good they are?
Before I go into that question, sorry, I just have something important, I think, to add to that, because I think upskilling of people is very important, and I think the industry and universities need to focus at the lower end, at education at primary students, okay? Because there are a lot of people like me who don't know about agriculture. And I have an example of Elisa here. Sorry for, I hope I am not making you nervous. But Elisa is someone as well, just like me, that was outside of the ag community. And it was, I think from memory, she said that she discovered about ag when a teacher mentioned it, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So I think that's what we need to put more effort into it, education at a lower level, just to present those opportunities. Now, what was the question? Sorry, again? Oh, that's an amazing question. And I think, personally, ag, especially in Australia, is at the top end, in terms of competition. Would it be competition? I guess more in terms of collaboration and in terms of the skill levels that we have in the ag tech sector compared to other industries. I guess there would be a lot to learn from areas like mining, for example, where they already are using, a lot of robotics and things like that to see how we can implement those things in agriculture. But at the same time, there's probably a lot of things that they can learn from us too. So, yeah.
Got a question down here behind you, over here.
First, please excuse me, I have Phil and Matt, but I missed your name and I didn't catch it again. Roberto. My question is primarily for you. As someone who doesn't come from an agriculture background, do you have any tips for networking? Because I find when I finish my degree, what I will have to my name is my degree.
Yeah. I guess it just takes practice, right? And I've been to a lot of workshops on how to talk to people, how to try not to be nervous. And one of the key messages I got is that the other person is just as scared as you are to talk to people. And usually, the worst thing it can happen is that people are going to say, sorry, I'm too busy. But, I think you just have to have a go and then, yeah.
I think also Phil mentioned getting out to these grower groups. I think they're an amazing opportunity to engage and network. They often have women's days as well, just women's focus days. So, it can change the barrier, or shift that barrier of comfort for you. But definitely the Grower Group Alliance webpage has all those grower group events and field days on there. So I would strongly encourage that, and also tapping into SPAA's page and seeing where their events are happening as well. Erin.
That was quite an interesting segue. And aside from being involved with Mount Burdett Foundation, I'm also the chair of the Grower Group Alliance. So if you have any questions around grower groups, feel free. It's what we do in ag. You often have more than one role. But my question for all three panellists, if a uni student is going to come up to you today or tomorrow, to be brave enough to come up and say, hi, I'm such, I'm studying at this university, I'm studying this, what would be one question that would be helpful for them to ask you to help be able to open up a conversation with you over these couple of days? One question a uni student could ask you.
I guess that's a hard one, but I guess depending on what the person would want to do, like a question that I personally like to ask is, not about the positives, it's more about the mistakes. So for example, I would ask you, what is a thing that you regret or that you wish you had done differently in whatever you're doing right now? So I would take that approach so that I can learn from your mistake to, to hopefully not make that mistake. Yeah.
Really, really tough question, Aaron. It's a
tough question for the industry.
Yeah. No, and I absolutely understand why you've asked it. But look, I think if someone came up to me and asked what was the most exciting thing that you've done this year in your job, it's a pretty good, pretty grounded, sort of humbling sort of like question. And it's pretty good because, look, it's not as scary as what's your weakness or what's your failure. But, yeah, I think, what's the most interesting thing you've done this year?
I have to say, having left uni thinking I never want to work in agriculture, it's very, very cyclic and repetitive. I want to do something that's different every day. Having been in it now pretty solidly for nearing 20 seasons in a row, I would ask, I would want to know what they like about certain periods of the year. The calendar is the same every year, but the season is not the same. Understanding seasonal differences, or even if you're just asking me what my favourite time of the year is, I would be, when is my garden in bloom? But when is the weather temperature better? When do you not cycling in the cold in the morning? When can you swim in the pool in the morning? When are flies not so bad? It would be about the season. I think that seasonal interest underpins almost everything about agriculture. In Dalwhinnie, the biggest news you can possibly have is if it's going to rain. That is absolutely big news. I don't care about Romeo Beckham. I really don't. I'm interested in Winter Olympics, but it's really about rainfall for me. If it's going to rain and there's a big rain event coming, batten down the hatches. Come on!
I'd also encourage that approach with any growers you meet as well. They, ask them about why they do their job. They're often remote, lonely hours, long hours. Find out what makes them tick.
Another question I'd be always interested in is, what do you want from your career? I definitely didn't think I wanted money. I wanted to be involved in something that I thought was cool. I'm a superficial man who likes coolness. I pick almost everything on whether or not I think it's cool. I think forage harvesters are cool because they're the first machine to get to 1,000 horsepower. I think combines are cool because I didn't get one in England and now I've got a lot of them. So I think that cool stuff is really what drives. It's a very infantile and childish thing, but not losing sight of your childhood things is an important factor. The job I wanted was partly to do with just seeing guys turn up with big shiny new machinery and the farmer get really excited to see it, and then in the end he adopted it, and that I feel was like that's the end goal of almost every engineer in every single development lab, in every single machinery factory or every single tech startup in the world, is they're looking for adoption. They're looking to see the end user moment, and that end user fundamentally to make money from it. So that didn't answer the question.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Gauss. Gauss is from Principal Soil Scientist from DPIRD. He is working on a large partnership project funded through GRDC, but you often pull through postgrad students into your work. Just wondering what you feel are the highlights from new entrants coming into what you do and what you showcase.
Thank you.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, just under the bus. That's good. No, look, I manage big projects through GRDC and DPIRD investment. In DPIRD, we got nearly 20 people, but I think nearly another 10 students through postgraduate program involved in our projects. So what we do is that we are thinking about a big picture, return on investment, turning up everything, automation, everything. So in my area of soil science, we also thinking, how can we make the soil better? So we do better in the dry season. That's the objective, right? And it has many components. It has that big level thinking. It has breakdown into different pieces. And then it has the nitty-gritty of science. What happens if you add salt in the water level, right? So if you are at the undergraduate level, master's level, PhD level, we have from small problem to big problem, so you fit into our business, right? So yeah, that's it. So we have involved many students through UWA, Kartin and Marduk through WAARC, and we are looking for more people to involve with us. So I'll be hanging around for next couple of days. Bump me, thanks.
Question over. Kel got a question.
Yeah. Hi, Helen Spafford. Excuse me, Helen Spafford from DPIRD. I just, on behalf of the folks in the room who might be interested in a job down the line, as you've had the opportunity in your careers to hire others or review resumes, what advice can you give these folks about how they can really stand out in terms of their applications? What really makes the difference from one applicant to the next?
Don't use AI. Oh.
A very good question, and there is multiple aspects as well, I think. Yeah, writing a CV is very important. Of course, you need to address the criteria that you have there, not using ChatGPT. You need to make sure that you're writing correctly, appropriately. But I guess once you go, if you address those things correctly and then you go to an interview, I think the interview is the most important part as well, where you actually have a face-to-face conversation with your employer and trying to be as honest as you can in terms of who you are. I think Mike is present in the room, and he was the person who gave me the opportunity to work in ag. And he told me, you didn't get the job because you actually had the skills, because there were other people who had better skills than I did. But he said that I had probably a better attitude and a better personality that would fit better the program that Mike wanted. So I think, yeah, it's very important to be honest with who you are, to present yourself. It's very important to fit in a team correctly. There's nothing worse than not fitting. Yep. Go ahead, Mike. Are you having a question?
Yeah. My name's Mike Ashworth. I'm with ARI. I reluctantly employed Roberto back those years. I think, in my opinion, we actually put too much focus on actually, our projection about our piece of paper or whatever. I always, my core belief is I can train skills, but I can't train attitude at all. So what we really want is really work on who you are, work on what you want to be, work on your level of collegiality, work on your willingness to just step out, okay? I don't believe we can actually come up with some canned line about what's going to make us right. Be yourself, step out, and just remember that if someone has a lack of empathy when you talk to them, they're probably not worth talking to, okay? The best people in this industry, the best people around, are the ones that really, really care, okay? So people are not, when you talk to Guz or someone like that, you're not talking about some soulless individual. He's an absolutely lovely guy, okay? So step out, talk to all these people, and, it's always going to be positive.
Phil? Yep.
On top of that, as everyone else has already said, obviously skills are trainable, but experience does count to an extent. So don't be scared to go out and try new things. I also know a lot of people that are involved in agriculture that have not come from an agricultural background, have not come from an ag science background, but are absolutely killing it out there in the world. So everything, as said, is trainable. Form great networks, go to networking events, say hi to industry people. You'll be surprised how many people know at least one of your mutual friends.
Another thing that's not really trainable is passion. If you're passionate about agriculture, that's probably why you're in this room. If you're passionate about ag science, then you probably continue on with it. Stick with your passion. If you do turn up and you're having to meet these people, going back to the original question of what do you ask, how do you network, you show passion, you let it come forward. Don't dumb it down. Be yourself. The other thing that I find is a real benefit is just turning up. You turn up daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly, and you keep coming, then you're going to get respect because it's a tough place to be. So if you do turn up, you're going to get it. Old saying said 50% of anything is looking the part, and the other 50% is confidence. Well, you can't always start off with those, but you can definitely turn up, and if you're here and you're passionate about ag, then you're going to get respect pretty much from day one.
And down here in the...
Thank you. As a person that works further back in the supply chain of workforce, which is with teachers and career advisors and students, I'm just interested to know because some of you have arrived by accident, as I did all those years ago as well. So honing in on the career advisor teacher space, because that seems to be a really critical juncture of going down a pathway or not. What is it that you wish that person had known, because they also don't know about our industry. That's my work, to try and upskill them. What is it that you'd want them to have known or told you to help influence you towards a future in agriculture?
The point was made earlier about being at school. I hope this doesn't sound wrong, but we indoctrinate farm children with toys. At a very early age, we give them farm toys so that they're interested in farming. If you can generate an interest, and it goes back to that gentleman's question here about how are we selling agriculture relative to other industries? You know, in some cultures, you know, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. But in certainly when I grew up in England, if you didn't come from a farm, then you weren't going to, and you're not going to inherit the farm. You're not going to be a farmer. Strangely enough, in Australia, you can actually become a farmer and not having been one, is the opportunity is so large to that element there. But trying to sell sounds bad, trying to promote or to advertise or to depict agriculture as a move-ahead industry and it's an aspirational piece to be in agriculture. And I think that no matter what sector of agriculture you're in, trying to make people, your careers advisors aware that this is a growth industry. Lots of university students get discussed about how long it is before you're making money when you finish. Well, this is an industry where you can make money pretty damn quickly after you finish, certainly in precision farming.
Okay, is there one more question after this, or is that it? Okay, great. We'll wrap up after that. Sorry, Phil.
That's all right. I'm just trying to think, because there's so many points, I think, Alicia. First point is that it's not always about the money. It's more about joining, and values. And I guess the reward of actually seeing your research and seeing your work actually being put out there is really important. It's pretty cool, Look, when I was going through high school, I think 60% of the recommendations was join mining. Well, I don't think that's really a viable sort of thing. I'm not really sure how to answer that one, Alicia, but look, I think it's understanding that just to be involved in agriculture, you don't actually have to be a farmer. You could be a communication specialist, you can be a researcher, you could be a data scientist leading, new sorts of things. But agriculture is much more than just sitting in a tractor and planting a crop and harvesting it at the end of the day.
Yes. Hi, Alicia. We spoke about this before already, but I think, the key word in this case is opportunity. I think it is very important to provide opportunities for kids to discover those hidden talents, and creating different programs in different areas. You mentioned, we have communication, agronomy, disease management, etc. If we can create different programs with these different areas that we have in agriculture and then provide those opportunities to kids just to have a goal, do a small experiment, see if you like this area. You don't like it, that's okay. Move into using a drone. You don't like the drone, do something else, That's when you have those opportunities, that's when you discover that you may like something. So, yeah.
And Cec, final comment from you. Oh, it'll
It's
come
on. I was just going to add, make the connection between food and ag. We all eat, so our students need to think about where's their food come from on a daily basis, because that connection between our industry and the day-to-day life that we all live is growing bigger. So it's really important that we understand we don't have good food on our plates if we don't have a strong, viable industry. So I think just really asking where did that come from and how do I get that and how do I contribute to that in the future?
Thanks, Cess, and a really good point to wrap up on. We'd like to just thank everyone for coming today. I hope the early start for you all was worth it. We encourage you strongly to go and have conversations today, talk to scientists, talk to industry professionals, talk to other students even, and sponsors about postgraduate pathways and digital ag and industry connection. Recognising again SPAA and WAARC for pulling this breakfast together, and also just for the students, you'll notice you've got your tags are black, your lanyards are black, so that's so you can recognise other students here sponsored by Mount Burdett and DPIRD. So become a cohort. That's part of actually your peer-to-peer group. That's where you can actually get a bit of comfort and strength in how you ask these things and learn more. There is a bit of a cheat sheet for students. There's a bit of a recommendation on what sessions to go for, which Deb will have at the door. And so grab one of those on the way out. I guess most importantly, have a great day. I think the last statement I'd say, and I think there's a couple of people in the room would agree with me, is get comfortable at being uncomfortable. That's it.